Hey there, I'm Helen, a 32-year-old single mom and a hairdresser extraordinaire. I'm just walking through the front door of my childhood home, luggage in tow, feeling pretty darn good about myself. I just got back early from this killer hairstyling convention in the city, and my head is buzzing with new techniques and trends. I'm so ready to wow my clients back at the salon. Ethan, honey, I'm home. I call out, expecting to hear the familiar sound of my 8-year-old's feet pounding the floor as he runs to greet me. But instead, nothing. The house is oddly quiet. I head upstairs, figuring maybe he's in his room, deep into some game or book. But when I push open his door, I stop in my tracks, my jaw nearly hitting the floor. What in the world? I gasp. Ethan's room, the one with the rocket ship bedspread and the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, is gone. In its place is a swanky home office setup, a massive desk, a sleek leather chair, even some fancy filing cabinets. Mom, I shout, my voice echoing through the house. Ethan? I race downstairs, my heart pounding. That's when I spot him, curled up on the pull-out couch in the living room, fast asleep. Helen, is that you? My mom, Linda, pops her head out from the kitchen, smiling like everything's fine. You're home early. Mom, what's going on? Where's Ethan's room? Oh, we had to make some changes. Come meet Greg. She says it so casually, as if moving my son out of his room isn't a big deal. And right on cue, in walks a tall guy with salt and pepper hair, all smiles and firm handshakes. You must be Helen. I've heard so much about you, he says, extending a hand. And you are? I ask, my eyes narrowing. This is Greg, my boyfriend, Mom gushes. He's a financial consultant and needed a home office for his work-from-home job. I feel like I've stepped into the Twilight Zone. So you just got rid of Ethan's room. Now, Helen, Mom starts, her tone shifting to something patronizing. Don't be dramatic. Ethan doesn't mind sleeping on the pullout. It's like camping. Camping? In his own home? I can feel my temper rising. Mom, you can't just make decisions like this without talking to me first. Helen dear, she says, her voice dripping with false sweetness. I don't need your permission. This is my house, and I'll do what I want with it. I look between Mom and Greg, who's standing there with a smug little grin, and then back to Ethan, still sleeping on that cramped couch. Something inside me snaps. This is Ethan's home too, I say, my voice low but firm, and mine. You can't just uproot our lives for some stranger. That's enough, Mom snaps back. Greg is not a stranger. He's part of this family now, and you will treat him with respect. I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm brewing inside me. We'll see about that. It's been a week since Greg moved in, and something about him is setting off alarm bells. Last night, I was heading to the kitchen for a late-night snack when I overheard Mom and Greg talking in hushed tones. But Linda, honey, this investment is a sure thing, Greg was saying. We just need a little more capital to get started. Mom sounded worried. I don't know, Greg. We're already stretched pretty thin. I froze, my hand hovering over the doorknob. What investment? And why did Mom sound so uneasy? The next morning, I corner her while she was making coffee. Hey, is everything okay? You seemed stressed last night. She plastered on a fake smile. Oh, just grown-up stuff, Helen. Nothing for you to worry about. But I wasn't going to let this guy ruin our lives. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong. I started paying closer attention to Greg's every move. The way he sweet-talked Mom into buying him expensive suits and gadgets for his business meetings. One afternoon, while Greg was out, I decided to sneak into his new office, Ethan's old room. As soon as I saw the bank statement lying on the desk, my blood ran cold. It was Ethan's college fund account, and the balance was way lower than it should have been. Mom, I shouted, storming into the living room. What happened to Ethan's college money? She looked up at me, wide-eyed, like a deer caught in headlights. Helen, I had to borrow some. Greg's business venture needed a little boost. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're kidding, right? That's Ethan's future. Right then, Greg waltzed in, perfectly timed. What's all the commotion about? I spun on him, anger burning in my chest. You tell me, Greg. What exactly are you doing with my son's college fund? He had the nerve to look offended. Now, Helen, I don't appreciate your tone. Your mother and I are making smart investments for all of our futures. Smart investments? Like what? Your fancy watch? Your new car? Greg's expression darkened. You don't understand business, Helen. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money. Helen, that's enough, Mom snapped, suddenly standing by Greg's side. Greg knows what he's doing. If you can't be supportive, maybe you should find somewhere else to live. I stared at her stunned. Are you serious? You'd kick out your own daughter and grandson. Mom looked torn, but Greg quickly put his arm around her. Linda, sweetheart, maybe Helen just needs some time to cool off and think about her attitude. I stormed out of the room, my mind racing. This was worse than I thought. Greg had Mom wrapped around his finger, and he was bleeding us dry. I knew I needed help. Grabbing my phone, I dialed my best friend, Sarah. Sarah? It's Helen. Remember when you said you owed me for fixing that disastrous perm? Well, I'm calling in that favor. I need you to dig up everything you can on a guy named Gregory Walters. And I mean everything. Sarah's voice immediately grew concerned. Helen, what's going on? I took a deep breath. I think my mom's new boyfriend is a con artist and he's about to ruin our lives. I need proof before it's too late. Sarah came through faster than I could have hoped. A few days later, we met at our favorite coffee shop, and she slid a thick folder across the table. Helen, she said, her eyes wide. You're not going to believe this. I flipped through the pages, my stomach dropping with each revelation. Multiple pyramid schemes, 3 ex-wives. I muttered, barely able to process it all. Sarah nodded grimly. And that's not all. Look at the bank records. My heart stopped as I scanned the documents. He's been siphoning money from Mom's accounts. How did I miss this? I whispered, feeling the weight of guilt and frustration press down on me. Sarah reached across the table, gripping my hand. Helen, you need to tell your mom. Determined, I gathered the evidence and rushed home. I found Mom in the kitchen, humming as she cooked. Mom, we need to talk, I said, laying the documents on the table. It's about Greg. She sighed, clearly exasperated. Helen, not this again. Mom, please just look at this, I urged, flipping through the papers. Greg isn't who you think he is. I laid it all out, the fraud, the ex-wives, the embezzlement. As I spoke, Mom's face shifted from disbelief to shock, and then to anger. How dare you? She snapped. You're just jealous that I found happiness again. Jealous? Mom, he's stealing from you. Get out, she shouted, her voice shaking. I won't listen to these lies. Just then, Greg walked in, his face carefully arranged into an expression of concern. Linda, darling, what's wrong? Tears welled up in Mom's eyes. Helen's trying to turn me against you with these ridiculous accusations. Greg's eyes narrowed as he turned to me. I think it's time you left, Helen. But I stood my ground. I'm not going anywhere. This is my home too. Greg smirked, pulling out a document from his jacket. About that, he said smoothly. Linda, remember that deed transfer we discussed? For tax purposes? My blood ran cold. Mom, what is he talking about? She wouldn't meet my eyes. It's just a formality, Helen. The house is in Greg's name now. I could barely comprehend what I was hearing. You're putting me and Ethan on the street, your own daughter and grandson. Greg wrapped his arm around Mom again. Now let's not be dramatic. You're welcome to stay, as long as you stop spreading these vicious rumors. I stared at them both, my heart pounding, fury and betrayal coursing through me. Then something inside me shifted. Fine, Greg. You think you've won. Let's see about that. I turned and walked out, pulling out my phone as I did. Sarah, it's me. Remember that crazy plan we joked about? Well, it's not a joke anymore. We're doing it. Helen, are you sure? This could backfire in a big way, she warned. I looked back at the house, thinking of Ethan sleeping on that cramped couch, of Mom being manipulated and robbed blind. I'm sure, I said, steel in my voice. It's time to take this jerk down. Greg had no idea who he was messing with. I might be a hairdresser, but I was about to become his worst nightmare. Game on, Greg, I muttered. Let's see how you like getting a taste of your own medicine. I invited Greg to a business dinner at our house, pretending I wanted to make amends. He took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. That evening, as we sat around the dining table, I introduced him to my investor friend. Actually Sarah, in disguise. So Greg, Helen tells me you're quite the financial whiz. Sarah said, laying it on thick. Greg puffed up like a peacock. Well, I don't like to brag, but I have a knack for spotting lucrative opportunities. As dinner progressed, Greg became more and more animated, bragging about his foolproof investment strategies. Little did he know, every word he said was being recorded by hidden cameras. Just as he was about to reveal the clincher, the doorbell rang. My heart pounded as I went to answer it. Two men in suits stood at the door, badges in hand. FBI. We're here for Gregory Walters. The look on Greg's face was priceless as the agents walked in. Gregory Walters, you're under arrest for multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. Mom looked shell-shocked. Helen, what's going on? I took a deep breath. Mom, everything I told you about Greg was true. And now we have proof. In the days that followed, the truth came out. Greg's fraud was even more extensive than we thought. Mom was devastated, but also grateful we had stopped him before he could do more damage. A week later, Mom called me into the living room. Helen, I've been thinking. I want to make things right. She handed me a document. It was the house deed, with my name added as co-owner. I was speechless. Mom, It's the least I can do. This is your home too, yours and Ethan's. Thank you, Mom, but you know this doesn't fix everything, right? She nodded sagely. I know. I've decided to move out for a while. Give you and Ethan some space. I found a nice little apartment nearby. That evening, Ethan and I stood in his old room, now no longer a home office, but a blank slate. What do you think, kiddo? Ready to redecorate? Ethan's eyes lit up. Can I have a superhero theme? I laughed, ruffling his hair. Anything you want, baby. As I tucked Ethan into his own bed that night, no more pull-out couch, I couldn't help but smile. We'd been through hell, but we'd come out stronger. Now that you've heard my story, I've got a question for you. How far would you go to protect your family from a manipulative person? Even if it meant going against your own parents' wishes, would you risk everything like I did, or would you handle it differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences and opinions matter, and they might help someone else facing a similar situation. If you enjoyed this wild ride, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more real-life drama and stories of triumph over toxic people. Your support means the world to me and helps me continue sharing these important stories. Thanks for listening, and remember, sometimes you've got to fight fire with fire to protect what's yours.